Morning, JJ.
Good morning.
Our plan is to break
Yeah.
after this and then go back out. My mind is trying to get caught back up.
Bit busy. You know what? It's, you don't realize how much having
You're good there.
a senior.
We're gonna get there.
Oh,
We had 7 graduation parties, 7,
I know.
and we made it to
Did you
6.
find that card for Tyler?
Yes, thank you.
We did hit 10. All right, it is 10 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order. Just for the record, JJ is joining us today electronically from Florida. And if you will rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
So next we have public forum. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak at the meeting this morning? Is there anybody online, Ryan? Okay, all right, so we will move on. We need a motion to adopt the agenda. We have some additions and revisions.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dave Minke, County Administrator. We have 2 additions. If we could add letter F, Pine County Investment Committee minutes from June 4th, 2024. I believe the report was made at the last meeting. These minutes are just for informational purposes. And then if we could add to the consent agenda item number 3B, temporary on sale application.
I'll move the agenda with the additions.
I'll second. Madam Chair.
Yeah. So we have a motion by Steve, a second by Matt. Are there any questions on that? Matt, Debbie, will you do a roll call, please?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Children.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Rowley.
Right.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
So next we have the minutes from June 4th and the summary for publication from the June 4th meeting. A motion to accept those.
I'll move.
Thanks, Matt.
Second.
Thanks, Josh. We got a motion by Matt, a second by Josh. Are there any comments or questions? Debbie, can you do a roll call, please?
District 3, Children.
Yes.
District 4, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Rowley.
Aye.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have minutes of the boards, committees, and correspondence.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Josh.
There aren't any.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was,
there's the revision. There's the one that was
yes.
just added.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're good. Thanks, Josh. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Steve. So we have a motion by Josh, a second by Steve. Are there any questions on that correspondence? Not. Debbie, can you do a roll call, please?
District 3, Children.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Rowley.
Aye.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have the approval of the consent items. Are there any questions on any of the consent items? Now, can we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Thanks.
Second, Ludwig.
Thanks, Matt. Motion by Steve, second by Matt. Once again, are there any questions on the consent agenda? Debbie, can you do a roll, please?
District 4, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Rowley.
Aye.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District Commissioner Rowley.
Aye.
You
And then we will move on to the facility committee report.
You want to start that, JJ, or you want me to take it?
If you could, Matt, and I'll just jump in.
Yeah.
I didn't have an opportunity
I'll
to take
take it.
notes traveling. Thank you, Matt.
We had our meeting June 5th. The shower, for the leaking shower it's now sealed, and the life expectancy on those is roughly 15 years with the epoxy. So we're gonna put a plan in to kind of keep some growth for the future, like we do on the roof, so. Then there was, probably the longest discussion was on the jail. The the estimate from BKV is old, year and a half or whatever, and the money didn't come, we didn't get any bonding money from the state, so we still want to move forward and create separations and so, but they're gonna go back to BKV and say, hey, can you help and sharpen your pencil and figure out how we can do this with money we have available. So that's what's gonna happen there. And it's gonna work. Rod is such a good management. The plan he has in place, so the females will end up with a space for rec, and then they have much better separation. And the scanner in his revised plan is gonna bring to BKB and see if they can make it. So there's more to come on that. Then there was Mark LeBron brought up new roof on the County Highway Department building down there, and it's gonna have to be done. And he wants that, there right now is a program from the federal government for solar. And it might be a good time if, I think there's a deadline coming, so he's gonna research that and see if that will work, and if there's if it will work with our budgeting and everything else, and if it comes together, that'll come back. Those two, and we discuss that as board, but my understanding is that you set it up on there, that, that it just goes into the grid, and then we'll get credit on our accounts, that is what the county, and we spend a lot on electricity, so maybe it'll be a good thing. Mark will figure that out. I think if the cost will come back.
According to the minutes, it says that he didn't know if the county would be the best site for that. Do you know?
I think right at this point, I think he's gonna look at that. It may be that it might happen, you don't know, it used to be, you have the angle and this and that stuff, and one thing I learned from Iron Pine Solar is the new panels are so much more efficient and things like that, so it's really a changing science with solar. I just don't know what it boils down to really is if it costs X, what's the payback? I think that's what we need to worry about. And then what can you do in the courthouse? Because there's so much stuff out there. So, but is it still possible? Maybe. Dave, you want to add something?
Well, I just want to say, Madam Chair, members of the board. So the agenda was specific to calling out the courthouse for solar consideration.
Yeah.
And in the meeting, the discussion was much broader than that.
Yeah.
And so that's why that reference is in the minutes, in case anybody looked at the agenda and then saw the minutes, they would see that transition. That the committee wanted to go broader than the agenda had suggested.
I should have explained that better, but you don't know, right? I mean, I think we're going to learn. I certainly don't know. And I need a lot of information. But I know it's a growing field because things are getting much more efficient at.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah, and then with different locations and different electric providers, if I recall correctly, Matt, we spoke briefly about comparing what one company can offer to the other company to get the best value for the county. We're to install it in relation to which electric provider and what programs they have.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Good-
kind of like
good discussion.
Yep. It was a good discussion. And then other projects, I think we were. That's pretty much it. From what I remember. Meeting.
I was reading that too with other projects and having it say that Garland is having estimate issues because they don't have the staffing. That's says a lot as to, that's where we're at, and to know that the public companies are having the same, or private companies are having the same. Yeah. It's interesting.
And so, Madam Chair, there are 2 action items on the agenda from that meeting. If you wanted to make a motion for those.
I will move those.
Is that?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Matt or just John? It was Matt, sorry, and a second by JJ. Are there any questions? Debbie, can you do a roll call on those, please?
And Madam Chair, just for clarity for anyone who doesn't have the packet in front of them, the motion is to request BKV to provide an updated estimate of costs for the alternative jail renovation plan, and to request County Engineer LeBron coordinate research on potential solar options and report back.
Perfect, thank you, Dave. You do a roll call, please?
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Chair Lustman.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the Personnel Committee.
Yeah, we had a meeting on June tenth, and the following recommendations were made in the Sheriff's Office Jail acknowledged the resignation of Correction Officer Daniel Pardon, effective July 9, 2024, and approved the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. And Health and Human Services acknowledge the resignation of long-term care specialist Jennifer Larson, effective June 7th, 2024, and approve the backfill position subsequent vacancy that due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. Also in Health and Human Services, acknowledge the resignation of children's mental health social worker Esther Soretti, effective June 14th, 2024, and approve the backfill of the position and any subsequent vacancy that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. In Land and Zoning, acknowledge the resignation of Planning and Zoning Office Manager Aaron Oaksey, effective June 18th, 2024, and approve the backfill of the position and any subsequent vacancy that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. And in Probation, acknowledge the resignation of Probation Corrections Agent Shaughnessy Smith, effective June 18th, 2024, and approve the backfill of the position, any subsequent vacancy that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. With that, I will make a motion on all of them.
And I will second, Madam Chair,
Okay, we've got a motion.
with some comments, because I will. Yep. Some will ask.
Okay, we've got a motion by Josh, a second by Matt, and go ahead.
Yeah, so in Health and Human Services, that resignation is, she was here 19 or 20 years and she's just moving to Chisago County.
Jennifer Larson.
Yeah, yep. And the other one was here 1.5 years and that she just decided it was too much going on there for the mental health. And Aaron Hoxie went from planning and zoning in the county to SWCD. And then last one, Smith, her family's in Beltrami County. So she's just going back to be close.
Okay. Well, and I really appreciate having the recruitment updates on here because it lets us know where we're at. So thank you for doing that, Jackie. Are there any other questions or comments on the Personnel Committee? We have a motion, excuse me, a motion by Josh, a second by Matt. Debbie, would you do a roll call, please?
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Chair Lustman.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Performance Management Program participation. Kelly, were you going to do that?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Kelly Schroeder, County Auditor Treasurer. And so this is our sixth year actually completing the performance management program. So this is a program through the state. It runs through the state auditor's office, in which counties can adopt 10 standards from different areas of services that we provide. And we just have to report on those standards annually. And we get an extra boost to our county program of about $4,000. So it's a pretty easy program to run because it's all data that we typically have already. And so it's just really me getting a hold of the people from the different departments saying, what's your data for this year? It's the only little tricky part is that, for example, in Public Works, we've always reported the bridge sufficiency rating as one of the options. However, that number is not available anymore. And so we changed this year to the number of hours to plow the complete system during a snow event. And we saw that same with the sheriff's office a couple of years ago too, where we had to switch measures. So there's some places that you'll see no data, and that's because we had to switch measures because the one we were using was not available. Questions on that? Otherwise, you have a resolution in front of you just to adopt these standards that I will report on.
It's really interesting to see how we're doing in these areas. I like having this. This is good.
I do too. Do you and your staff find it helpful and as you're working through the auditing part?
Not necessarily the auditing part, but I think workload measures, for example, I think it's been helpful just to have those numbers available.
The numbers are good too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to have a motion to approve resolution 2024-32.
Let me go move.
Thanks, Matt.
I'll second.
Thanks, Steve. We have a motion by Matt, a second by Steve. Does anybody have any other questions or comments on that? Debbie, can you do a roll call, please?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Chair Rutherford.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldman.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Levitt.
Aye.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have the Clean Water Partnership loan proposal.
Let's just stay there.
Well, I thought about staying, but I'm back now. So as you guys are all aware, since 2016, we have ran this Clean Water Partnership Program, fixing up non-compliant septic systems in Pine County. On my board request, I actually keep the numbers and they're a little bit staggering, I think. So since 2016, we've replaced 180 non-compliant septic system with a total cost of over $3 million. And those aren't Pine County dollars. We are a partner with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency in that we get the funds from them, we loan them out to these people. The people pay them back on their property taxes and we pay them back to the state. So the program runs 4 years at a time. So we did it in 2016 and then it expired. We renewed in 2020 and now it expired in 2024. So we have to resubmit a proposal for the program. The only disappointing part is previously, like when we did it in 2020, we got $1.8 million just right off the bat. And this time they're limiting it to $750,000. And so that's a little disappointing because we can go through that in about a year and a half, I would guess. But then hopefully they'll have additional funding and we can just amend our agreement with them.
They've done that in the past. When we
Right,
Keep it going.
correct.
Madam Chair.
Yep.
And Kelly, it's a loan repayment, so are we getting enough money? Are they making payments in timely fashion so we can then reinvest that money?
Right, yes. So because we 2 times a year have to pay that money back to the state of Minnesota then.
Okay,
And I do have enough funds, so it's not like I'm dipping into Pine County funds to pay those.
Okay.
The property owners are paying them back so that I can just use those funds to pay the state back.
I think it's been an
Mhm.
awesome program. I can't hardly remember a month that we haven't had at least one on our agenda request. So it's been a wonderful, popular program.
Will it help 188 families that don't have the finances to put in a septic system to get their septic systems compliant? That's huge.
Yeah, well, there's another program too. We have two.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, where this is the loan program and then we have the low income program that serves as grants. And so those, if they own it for 10 years after we put them in, it's just forgiven.
That's it's a really good program.
Yeah, with that one, unfortunately, depending on the funding we get, we can do somewhere between 2 and 5 systems a year with that one. Where this one, we average a lot more systems than that in a year. But this one, again, is for the folks that do have the ability to pay it back. So the resolution you have before you today is literally just to allow me to submit the proposal to the PCA for our next round. Once that's awarded to us, it will come back to you guys for final approval.
I'll move to resolution 2024-33.
Thanks, Josh. You have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Steve. Got a motion by Josh, second by Steve. Are there any questions on this for Kelly?
Kelly, I just have one more quick one, sorry. And I roughly, do you know how many non-compliant are out there? Just, I don't exactly.
Right, and it's a really hard number to come up with. When we started this program back in 2016, and if you'll remember 2014 as well, we did a big update to our septic system ordinance in that we started doing point of sale compliance inspections county-wide. So in 2014, I was estimating we were at about a 50% compliant septic system on those that had on-site septic systems. Now we're looking at about 15 to 20%, just with those getting systematically replaced through point of sale and through this program.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so we have a motion by Josh, a second by Steve. Are there any other questions? Can you do the roll call, please?
District three, Commissioner Lundgren.
Aye.
District four, Commissioner Waldman.
Yes.
District five, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District one, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District two, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I ask one more follow-up question?
Yes.
Kelly?
Now that she sat down, right?
Sorry, Kelly. Is there any indication from pollution control that they are going to expand that into a well closure program or a well testing program?
I haven't seen anything, but I mean, there's always, I mean, I think we have discussion on it. I know Soil and Water has discussion on it. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of interest in something like that. But I don't know if it fits perfectly with this program.
You know, it'd probably have to be a new program.
Yeah.
Just wondered if you had heard any rumblings that there's something coming.
Yeah.
I hear it in the neighborhood chatter that, you know, there's still a lot of wells that should be closed, should be sealed, that probably aren't. People know they should be.
I think that's SWC's program.
Soil and water. does
How
that.
they find.
Shack is working on it too. There's a lot going on with Shack with it because, and they're dealing with other parts of the state, but then they're saying we got issues everywhere. So it's gonna be coming down the pike. Yeah, thanks, Kelly. Next, we have a labor agreement between the County of Pine and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Union 160 for the County Health Service Administrator.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we did provide an update at the last meeting and there was a closed session. We had an opportunity to discuss and ask questions. The red line has been reviewed by the union and they're agreeable to it. I would just note that we have not actually received the signed copies back. And so if you're willing to approve this at this time, I would ask that you make it contingent upon the CBA being approved by the union and the MOA with the social supervisors be approved by them.
So
Good work on it.
So we're looking at a motion to accept this contract with those contingencies.
I'll move this.
Thanks, Josh.
And I will second that.
Matt. So we have a motion by Josh, a second by Matt. Are there any questions on this?
I'd just like a quick comment. This is one of I'm pretty proud of this one, I think. Not that I ain't any less about the rest of them, but man, we had a lot of back and forth and really thought we weren't gonna get anywhere and all of a sudden. It's just one of them, I just want to say, when you got staff in a room, good people in a room, we just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall. And all of a sudden, one thing, it was like the light bulb went off and it kind of clicked. And just makes you really proud when you're part of it. When we're like at a couple points, we're like, why are we even scheduling another meeting? Because we know this ain't gonna get anywhere. And then all of a sudden it all comes together and it does. So thank you, David. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, everybody else that was a part of this because it was a good deal.
Well, thank you to you and Matt.
Yeah, I missed the last whole district final one. I was in May.
Oh.
But I missed one too. You were at by yourself.
Negotiations, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's a hard committee to be on, so we appreciate you guys. So I have a motion by Josh, a second by Matt. Once again, any questions? All right, roll call, please.
District four, Commissioner Waldman.
Yes.
District five, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District one, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District two, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District three, Chair Logan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we need to look at the 2025, it's that time budget meeting schedule. David?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if there's a proposal that you would establish the first three budget meetings. The first one will be August 20th, part of a regular meeting. The second one would be a special meeting on Tuesday, August 27th, starting at 9 a.m. And then the third one would be part of a regular meeting Tuesday, September 3rd. And then at that September 3rd meeting, if it were necessary to have another special meeting that could be set at that time for September 10th. So if you're comfortable with those first three meetings, if you set those today, then we can work on scheduling the departments and the organizations.
Are there any questions on that? We have a motion to, oh, Debbie?
So there is mention of September 17th.
If needed.
If you want to include that.
No.
Just, oh.
Yeah, that's just awareness of under this schedule at the regular meeting, September 17th is where you would set the preliminary levy.
Okay.
And you could do that anytime by September 30th.
So can we have a motion to accept those dates?
I'll move that.
Thanks, Matt.
I'll second.
Thanks, Steve. We got a motion by Matt, a second by Steve. Are there any questions or concerns on those dates?
Easy when it's 3 months ahead.
I know, get it on your calendar so you're here. It's important. Okay, go ahead. Roll call, please.
District five, Commissioner Levitt.
Aye.
District one, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District two, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District three, Chair Logan.
Aye.
District four, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
Great, thanks, everybody. We are on commissioner updates. So we've got the East Central Regional Center. Matt, did you make it to that? The East Central Juvenile Center? Did you make it to that meeting?
No.
Okay. Congressman Staubers, the bridge event, how did that go?
It went awesome. Josh and I and David got our picture in the paper.
Nice.
No.
With Pete?
Yeah. It was good. I think the thing I came away with was those kinds of things, no matter how hard the congressman says he works on it, it's really our local people that put the package together that makes it stand out among all the other people from Lindstrom to International Falls. There's a lot of communities, there's a lot of bridges, there's a lot of sewer projects. Mark worked on that himself and got that thing in a timely fashion. So it made sense to somebody reading it in the congressman's office that said, this needs to move to the top.
Yeah.
And I think we're very fortunate to have people like that in our engineer's office that take the time to put that stuff together.
I was just thinking hats off to Mark and Aaron, for the work that they did to get that done.
The other thing, people ask, I can remember when that bridge was built. And yes, many of us can. It was built with, what was Mark's terminology? Box beams, the concrete beams that were hollow with steel in them. They were very popular in the 70s. They aren't popular now because they found out that moisture infiltrated into the box beam. And you know what happens? We have to put a lot of salt on the road to keep our bridges and roads open. It infiltrates down into the middle of those beams and they're rusting from the inside out. And so that's the reason. And nobody wants to be on the county board or be the county engineer that has a bridge that fails that we knew was in danger.
I would just add too, it's really great to have Congressman Stauber around for that kind of deal and to show how proud he is of something like that. But when we walked out on the bridge to take the photo, I put Jason outside because I'm like, you'll take the hit for me. But it was very evident that it needs a sidewalk on both sides. Over 10,000 cars a day go across that bridge. People, even Congressman Stauber was astonished that many, and people don't realize it. But I joked because I grew up on the other side of that bridge and rode my bike across that bridge about, I don't know, probably 50 times a day. Obviously not that much, but it never seemed like it was that busy. But just walking out there, you got a little nervous because people do drive stupid and they're all looking at you like, what the hell are these guys doing as they're driving India or across the lane? And so it is a need. There's a lot of people and a lot of traffic, and I think it's going to be a really great project when it's done. So very proud of everybody that worked on it.
Aren't you glad it didn't happen on a flea market day?
Yeah.
Bridges.
All right. Next is the Solid Waste Commission.
We've met, actually, we met about 3 times in the last 2 weeks because of contract issues. So we met yesterday to award a contract to a company called Bel Air, which has been in business for many years. They have landfill experience. Many of us probably know people that have worked for that contractor and retired from them. But anyway, they had the best price and that's to complete work on the next cell. The next cell is supposed to last us for 10 years. But if you remember, I reported that about 6.5 years ago, that the cell we're on now was gonna last 10 years, and it's barely, they need to have this thing done before winter or we'll run out of space. I mean, we are completely out of space in the cell we're filling right now in 7 years.
How many more cells can you put on that property?
About 3 or 4. I think we
Probably
probably
25 years tops, 20 to 25 years.
maybe 40, but it's gonna be an issue, folks. For our kids and our grandkids, so what are we gonna do with garbage? We can't continue to do what we've been doing for the last 40 years. Because the rate that we're putting it in the garbage, I mean, we're just creating more garbage. That's all there is to it.
Things that are made nowadays are made disposable too. They're not made
Everything.
to last. Where you look at, the old mixers that our families used to have, our
Yeah.
grandparents, they lasted forever and now they don't. It's just everything is disposable now. It's not made to last the way it used to be,
Well, and one thing
which is not helpful.
Steve always said is you look at a little like SD card, it comes in a package this big.
Right.
And it's this little teeny,
It's a
You know?
teeny thing,
Yeah.
and I know they do it for theft control,
Yeah.
but
Right.
we have to start demanding better things. We have to, if you look at the tons that go in there for every pound that we can recycle, it's 1 less pound that has to go in the landfill. So I think we have to start through AMC with our legislative partners, start demanding that we change the way we package things.
What about, we had talked before at some of our meetings about garbage and about recycling, and we had talked about if we should look forward in the years about getting recycling or doing recycling or having that more accessible. Is that something that we want to go back to?
Well, we certainly could. I see Kelly not, I think, when we talk to our haulers in Pine County, the one issue they say is if you add $2 to your garbage bill to handle the curbside recycling, the drop off in customers, then where does that garbage go? If they're not getting garbage service, are they responsible then to take it to a transfer station themselves, or do they throw it in the ditch.
In the ditch.
And
You know, do your self haulers increase?
not exponentially,
No.
you know. I don't know.
I would argue a lot of it is just convenience. Most of it nowadays is how easy it is to do. Because most of us don't have a whole heck of a lot of time to take the extra step it is to do anything with it. So I do think that we should take another step at this. We were doing good, and with that performance thing, it looks like we kind of dropped off, but I know we haven't been doing as much as we did before either, but I've always been kind of an advocate of doing something to kind of move the needle a little more, because personally, I'm not the type that's got time to sell all or bring it to a shed or something like that, you know, but.
Yeah, and that was one performance measure I meant to mention because it looked really bad this year. I think last year we were at like 35% and this year it was like 18%.
Yeah.
So a lot of that has to do with actual reporting though, because that's where we get that number. And unfortunately, Caleb left me in December. So I didn't have a lot of time to harass people to get me their recycling data. So the data we had wasn't so great this year.
Yep.
So that was part of why that number was so small.
But it's still little.
Right, it's still little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to look at having that as part of a committee of the whole agenda?
We
coming up?
probably should, Madam Chair. I think it's been a while since we've looked at it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, thank you. East Central Regional Library, we met with the city of Cambridge actually at this meeting. The library system rents from the city of Cambridge where they have their offices in the basement of the library in Cambridge. And we've had a contract, but we've had to have individual contracts for like cleaning, for snow removal, for grass mowing, all that type of stuff. So it's all of these little individual special contracts that we have out there. And the city has come to us and said, we would like to hire a full-time employee. We'll take the initial cost, we'll take the majority of the cost. So they'll actually be a city employee. They'll work for the library 40 hours a week unless they're needed to go to the city to do something where they need that extra set of hands. But we would majority of the time have a 40-hour employee at the library to do the maintenance, the snow removal, the lawn mowing, the whole shebang. It's an extra $7,000 that'll be added to the budget. But then they were talking about how that will take less employees from the library to make sure that the money gets sent out to all of these extra little places and just verifying that things are getting done. And for the city, I think it's a big thing where they'll be able to have the maintenance people there so that if a toilet's leaking, they can fix it right away. So that's one of the things that we're going to be discussing in the budget coming up is where we want to go with that. The motion was made to look into what that contract would look like starting in January of 2025. So that's where that's going to be coming from. And then we're going to be starting our budgeting process next week, I think it is, so that we can have numbers for the counties. So that'll be a good thing. So that was the majority of our meeting, was to discuss how that happens and the needs that need to be done on that. County Tribal Relations was canceled. Soil and Water.
Yeah, we met on the 12th. During the public comment, we spoke a little bit about still the water issue on Sturgeon Lake. And Mark's been out at the site, Aaron's been out at the site where it's off of County 46, Culver goes under 46, and then there's a piece of private property that the township is, I believe they spoke with the landowner to try to get something worked out to get access to just clean out the vegetation, to promote some better water flow out of the lake. Everything's done between the highway and the lake. So we were just speaking, kind of comparing it with what happened on the Island Lake outlet, if anybody remembers what happened up there, and use the Island Lake outlet as a model. So it sounds like Benzie sits on the board. He spoke about using the Island Lake as a model, the outlet that, we worked on together between the county and the DNR and between the Soil and Water and everybody. So hopefully those different entities can get together on that. Everything else seemed seem pretty much business as usual. Paul just spoke. I want to just take a moment to just comment on how well his staff is doing, and everything seems to be working really well there. That's about it.
You.
I
Kettle
could add, well, I
River,
could, I'm sorry,
Oh.
I could add one more thing here. Back to when Steve, Commissioner Holland was commenting on the, what we just passed for the monies available for sewers. There is, the well sealing project has been ongoing at Soil and Water. So there was just another monies that were already, it's a cost share. Matt, you probably remember that also when you were
Yeah.
liaison there, yeah, so. It's represented through Soil and Water.
good to know. Thank you.
Yep.
Kettle River, Upper St. Croix watershed plan. That's you.
Which one?
Kettle
Middle
River.
River.
No, there was no meeting.
Oh, there was no meeting? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry, how are you?
Shack. One of the things, as we're going to be talking about cannabis today, one of the things that were brought up was the AARP magazine brought up that there is a 1,000% increase in overdoses on cannabis for people 55 and older. It was like, holy cow, that's a lot. But they were saying that so many people that are 55, you have all the aches and pains and your doctors are giving you cannabis and, you know, you kind of forget how to use it. But then there's also the concern that where you go to get it, if it's a reputable place and if they're filling it with other stuff, which is something that we also need to be on top of because that's where we're finding a lot of our fentanyl and that type of stuff is in the drugs that people are buying at non-reputable places. But I thought that that was really increasing 1,000% increase of overdoses in 55 and older. That's a lot. That's a lot. That was the big part of the thing. MDH is also working with tribes. So they said that they're going to tribes and counties. And so me said, please do it together because we're not going to do it separately. And, you know, it doesn't work to do it that way. We had an infectious disease operations guide that Sam Lowe was part of on the conversation on getting that done. So it was good to have our county staff part of that, which is, it's not a big, a lot of counties weren't, so that was a good thing. So we got that was approved. Yeah, that was about it for that one. And then we have law library.
It's actually this Thursday, got switched.
Oh, okay. Central Minnesota Jobs and Training, we all made a motion and Brent Thompson is our new representative for Pine County, who is taking Becky Laurie's place, who needed to retire, which was hard for her. She's done an amazing job on that committee, but because she sold the business to her sons. So now Brent Thompson, who is the owner of MinPac, is going to be on that committee. And he's just one meeting, I think he's going to be a very valuable resource. One of the other issues that we're having is getting our audit done. Right now we have, the auditor is just holding it up and we need to get that done so we can get the grants. So we are looking at putting that out for bids to other auditors to see where we need to go with that. We did have a line of credit and we have to renew that now with some changes. One of the things that we found on the line of credit is it only took one person to set up the line of credit and it took one person to sign the checks. So that will be no more. From now on, it will be more than we need to set up the line of credit and there will be two people on that. And then with that,
That's a good.
yeah, you never have one person signing a check for $200,000. That doesn't work very well. Not that there was anything that happened bad, but we don't want anything to happen bad. Just saying. So with that, one of the things that we did find is that the Workforce Development Board, they have a treasurer on that committee, but the Joint Powers Board does not. And the Joint Powers Board, we're the ones responsible for the monies. And so we will be looking into that in the bylaws to see if we can add a treasurer to make sure that all of those bases are covered. State Tribal Partnership Committee, I was at the Joint Powers Board for CMJTS. So Angie Theis from AMC took my place at that meeting, which was really excellent because she is such an advocate for family resource centers. And that's one of the things that this committee is pushing as a good resource for our tribal partnership that can help families. And so, you know, the fact that Pine County has had our family resource centers and that Mille Lacs Band has participated in that speaks volumes, but we're rare. So that's one of the things that was presented at that meeting was the family resource centers. And I'm really thankful that Angie was able to go. We met with Mille Lacs Band yesterday. Steve, do you want to go on that one?
Yeah, mostly talked about the transition to a new chief, executive officer, represent Pine County at that ceremony. So we're kind of gonna put our meetings on hold until the dust settles and see who's, it's kind of like when we get a new governor, you know, he brings in his new staff, commissioners and they're a sovereign nation, so they'll do probably some of the same and probably keep some of the people that we've been used to meeting with, but we'll kind of put that on hold, our monthly meetings until they figure out who's there.
Right.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
how is our law enforcement agreement working? Still clicking along as normal? Everything's fine.
Jeff, do you know the answer to that one?
You know, law enforcement agreement, as far as we know, it's working. Yeah. Fine. Yeah, got a good relationship.
Are there any questions about if new leadership is going to make a difference with that or? Okay, yeah. I think that that's going to keep moving forward. I think that that's something that they all appreciate. And when Steve and I went over for the MMIR that they had, we did meet Virgil at that meeting and we did talk to him about how we want to keep our tribal relations going with Mille Lacs Band. And he said that he was all for that. So I don't think it's gonna stop, but it may look different down the road. So just trying to figure out.
No, that's a good relationship.
Yeah, yep, it is. Board of Equalization. Anybody wanna?
Take a stab at it?
Yeah.
Pretty,
Well, the thing I'd say is that our staff had things resolved by the time we got there, which says a lot for our staff. And I think it's the least people we've ever had, 0 show up. So I don't know what that says.
I don't either.
Well, I look at that as that our staff is doing a really good job.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that they can sit and they can say, okay, we're allowed to be at 105% down to 90%, and we're right here. They're where they need to be, and they worked so hard to get there.
And they're low.
Yeah.
I mean, they're low. They're in the low 90s. We didn't hit the mid.
Most of them are 94%.
Yeah.
So we're below.
Right. You know, and I think, you know, well, I've been there, so to figure out how our sales are from last year and how is that going to affect this year? And then we as people, right, we look at what is happening this year. And we can't do that because it's based on last year. So for them, you know, we've got excellent staff that look at the statutes and know what they need to do and they get it done and they do a very good job at that. So, yeah. It was good.
Sure. I'd just like to say I apologize to everybody that I didn't make it back. We were at an event for my kids, so thank you for covering for me, everybody, and sorry.
It was really hard.
Are there any others? If not, we are going to go to recess for lunch and probably a little bit more, and we will reconvene at 1 o'clock where we will be meeting hopefully with cities and townships coming in to discuss cannabis.
Need a motion.
I believe we do, yeah.
I'll move to this reset.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll second.
Thanks, Josh. So we have a motion by Matt and a second by Josh to go to recess until reconvening at 1 o'clock. Roll call.
District 5, Commissioner Levitt.
Aye.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District Chair O'Keefe.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Walden.
Yes.
Thank you. We will see everyone at 1.
We need something.